So apparently the Epstein files do exist, but when are we going to see anything?
Since we were talking about fake news, this is going to come up because it's been going on since we've been recording here. Elon and Trump seem to be in a bit of a spat. Joe, you want to check the tweet that Elon just put out a little bit ago?
Time to drop the really big bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That's the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day. Jesus Christ.
I'm not participating in any of that conversation
What
between
is he?
Elon
Have a
and Trump.
nice day, DJD. Someone should take his phone away.
They're going back and forth about different things. And
Yeah. Listen,
Well, he said he was disappointed in Elon.
yeah,
Yeah.
they told him to leave.
Jesus Christ, that's a crazy thing to say. How does he know? Does he know that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files? Or does he have access to the Epstein files?
I don't know how he would, but I'm just staying out of the Trump-Elon thing. That's way outside
What
my
the
lane.
fuck are they doing?
I know my lane, and that ain't it.
I just don't. I mean, I understand he owns Twitter. I think it's bad for your mental health.
Yeah.
I think posting things public all day and arguing with people all day is bad for you.
Let's just get to it because I know it's on people's minds. Epstein, right? The reason people are pissed off about that is the same thing, right? 20 years ago or whenever it was, 2006, 7, 8, Epstein gets his sweetheart plea deal, right?
Right.
After committing the most horrific crimes on planet Earth, right? I wasn't in power there. I wasn't in place there. I had, nothing to do with it. But people were rightfully pissed. I mean, this guy was committing the most grotesque acts you can against children. And the media spins up about it. Many in the media protected him. Why? Because of his relationships, who he knew, who his bankers were, who his colleagues were, who was on the island and stuff like that. Some pretty powerful human beings. And so when you peel back the layer and then what happened? The Trump administration, the last go around, decided, no, we're not going to let that go. We're going to investigate him, right? They charge him, they indict him, and he's awaiting trial.
Kind of weirdly late, I have to say. It's the whole thing with Epstein and Kash is not going to understand this. All we need is accountability. We need that list. We need any videos that you're ready to give us, and we do not care if he offed himself. Kash is going to obfuscate things being like, well, he didn't off. We don't care. I don't care about that. I want the names. I want why they were on that plane. I want the details, and so do you. And it's so funny that the Trump administration, they got him, like right at the end of the Trump administration. If we knew of this guy, why was no one in this administration doing anything about it before? I've just got to ask these questions.
And I've said it. Dan Bongino said it. We've reviewed all the information, and the American public is going to get as much as we can release. He killed himself. Do you think, let's play out the logical conclusion of this. Do you think that myself, Bongino, and others would participate in hiding information about Epstein's grotesque activities? Or do you think we would also participate in not prosecuting people we had evidence to prosecute people on? But the problem is there's been like 15 years of people coming in and creating fictions about this that doesn't exist. Where's the videotape of an Epstein Island of X, Y, and Z committing these frauds? Why haven't you given it to us? Do you really think I wouldn't give that to you?
Yes.
If it existed? I'm working my ass off along with the leadership at the Bureau and DOJ to get you what we're allowed to give you. And you're going to
Notice get you what we're allowed to give you. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, I don't trust them to give us everything that they should. Just let's be honest.
get the video of the cell. And you're going to see for yourself. And we will never be able to convince everyone.
Okay, let's get into that. So what did you think before you got in office? Did you think that Epstein was murdered?
No.
No suspicion at all of it?
But I have a different background, right?
Right.
So I was a public defender back in the day. I used to spend a lot of time in jails and a lot of time in segregated housing units, SHUs as we call them, right? And so, and I've known people that have committed suicide in these cells. And I know how you get in, how you get out, who works the system. And so the way, based on public information at the time, that he ended up, the pictures and him hanging himself, I was like, man, that guy killed himself. There's just no way that you could have run an op and had people go into that cell and not have any video of it.
No
and not have any
way.
people come out and say, hey, yeah, I saw that guy. He shouldn't have been there, the guard or this guy. There's just no access points into places like this in the detention.
There literally are so many access points. You're saying there is no way there's a conspiracy. And it's so funny that our government's like, don't you trust us? We would never do anything. There's never no conspiracy. There's never been anything weird that happens. How could anyone get in there? That's crazy. And what's even worse is we're going to find out that Kash Patel not only is straight up being like, well, I don't believe that he would. Kash has no idea about all of the autopsies, all of the actual what people might call evidence, and or at least things that point to. I don't want to call it straight evidence. Let's call it the theoretical evidence or the circumstantial evidence, where we have gotten medical professionals being like, hey, this is actually really consistent with when someone it is consistent with being life ended. It is not consistent with someone ending their own life, if that makes sense. And you'll see what he has to say. It's wild to me.
Detention center he was in, which I've been in.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but what I was told, what I'd read, was that the guards were not paying attention or were sleeping.
Well,
right?
And in short order, you'll see it.
Is that correct?
Well, it's hard to surmise that from a video, right?
Right.
Where they
No.
And look,
Ready?
do guards doze off on the night shift? Yeah. But no one can get in to the cell. And if they had gotten in to the cell, you would see it.
But we were told that the cameras were down.
Well, I don't know who said that.
But that was in the news.
We're giving you all the footage we have.
So why wasn't that released immediately? Why did this speculation escalate?
I think you'd have to ask whoever the attorney general back then was, Bill Barr.
We're asking you. You need to have these answers.
Did you ever see? Do you remember that HBO autopsy show? Dr. Michael Baden. He's a famous forensic
I don't think I've seen
scientist. So he's a pathologist, and he reviewed the case, and it was his determination that it was a homicide because of the way his neck was broken. Mm-hmm. And what he said was it was indicative of a ligature strangulation. And it was because of the positioning on the neck where the marks were, that it wasn't indicative of someone hanging by their weight, which had been higher on the chin. And there's a specific break of the bones and the vertebrae that's consistent with someone who is just strangled to death.
I haven't seen it. I'll definitely take a look at it because that's part of my job.
Was there any other autopsy done other than the official one?
Not to my knowledge, but if there was, you'll get it. And that's what
do
we're
you
doing.
know?
Epstein's autopsy points to homicide. Pathologist hired by brother claims. New York City medical examiner strongly disputed the claim that the evidence from the autopsy suggested strangulation. So let's go to by the way, this is the New York Times, and they never lie.
Right, but also this is something that I'm personally extremely passionate about, that we need to release this list and take down everyone in power that was a part of this, and it is unbelievable to me that Kash Patel, of all people, just doesn't seem to know most of these things that I know just by doing cursory research. I am doing the research that I am able to know that at the very least these claims exist. He does not even know of these claims existing, and then he just keeps being like, well, I don't know, I don't know. Like, you notice how much he says, you're the guy with the actual inside information. You should at least be able to verify these claims are false or not, right?
The private pathologist, Dr. Michael Baden, said the morning TV show Fox and Friends Mr. Epstein experienced a number of injuries, among them a broken bone in his neck, that are extremely unusual in suicidal hangings and could occur much more commonly in homicidal strangulation. I think the evidence points to homicide rather than suicide, said Dr. Baden, who observed the autopsy done by city officials. Dr. Baden, a former New York City medical examiner and a Fox News contributor, said, I have not seen in 50 years where that occurred in suicidal hanging case. Findings by Dr. Baden were strongly disputed by the city's chief medical examiner, Dr. Barbara Sampson, who previously ruled that Mr. Epstein's death on August 10th in the Metropolitan Correctional Center was a suicide. I stand firmly behind our determination of the cause and manner of death in this case, Dr. Sampson said in the interview on Wednesday. She added, in general, fractures of the hyoid bone and cartilage can be seen in suicides and homicides. The hyoid bone is near the Adam's apple. Dr. Sampson also dismissed Dr. Baden's contention that the circumstances around Mr. Epstein's death suggested other people may have been involved. She said her office had done a complete investigation, taking into consideration information gathered by law enforcement in making the determination.
So this is a perfect example of going back to my public defender and prosecutor days. This is what we call a war of experts. You can always
Trust and
find
bless.
someone
Right.
Jeez.
to come in and say the opposite.
Right.
And I used to do it all the time. I mean, I represented some of the worst humans that you can possibly imagine.
When did you?
Dude, that's exactly why I said it makes me trust you less. You were a public defender, and you were sitting here defending actual criminals, talking about making stuff up. I mean, you just saw him say that. This is crazy to me.
You become aware of this video that showed that no one had gone in and out of the cell.
Recently.
So why was it recent, though? I mean, if this death was, how long ago was this death? 2 years?
Couple.
2019?
2019.
Oh, really? Why time flies?
Yeah.
So
I
6
know,
years.
yeah, it seems crazy.
Jeffrey Epstein jail CCTV erased by technical errors. Whoopsies.
Yeah.
That's 2020.
U.S.
article.
prosecutor said the jail mistakenly saved footage from the wrong cell. Sorry. Epstein, a convicted sex offender, first tried to kill himself in July last year and hanged himself in jail.
Hang on.
Yep.
Reread that line.
That he first tried to kill himself in July of last year. Yeah.
How much of the American public do you think knows that?
I didn't know that until right now.
There you go.
Maybe I heard it and forgot. Did you ever hear it, Jamie?
Well, that's why he was on suicide watch, I think.
Oh, okay.
So a
Hanged
guy.
himself in jail in August while serving trial on federal sex trafficking charge. He pleaded not guilty to abusing dozens of girls, some as young as 14. Soon after Epstein's death in August, two of the CCTV cameras outside his cell had malfunctioned and were being examined by the FBI. Found semi-conscious in his prison cell with injuries on his neck. On 25 of July, after this incident, he's placed on suicide watch.
I'm not saying every single camera in the place was working. I'm saying we've got footage and you're getting it. And
Where is it?
then you can make up your own mind.
But this is like an article from quite a while ago that was saying that the footage was mistakenly erased.
Look, I mean, it goes back to the same. Ask the people that were in power then. I mean, I get it that you want to hold me to account for their actions, and
No, I'm not
you,
saying-
not you.
I'm not saying that.
Not you. That just the public in general, and that's okay.
What's confusing to everybody today, first of all, it's very confusing because AI can kind of make anything.
Well, I can tell you after having looked at it, this ain't going to be AI.
You don't think so?
You're gonna. It's just not great. You know, it's like if it were AI, like someone wanted to come in and make it, they'd make it better.
But why would you make it better when people could, you could have ambiguous footage?
But I'm telling you, I'm giving you the tape from the tape. What we find is what you're getting.
Okay, so now it's saying 2019, missing jail video from the first Jeffrey Epstein suicide. So for the first attempt has been found. If he was murdered in prison, crazy, right?
Yeah.
You could see why very powerful people wouldn't
If
want
he
him
was
talking.
murdered in segregated housing, in isolation, after being on suicide watch in a place in a detention center that I've physically been in myself, it would be fiction. It's just, in my experience, that is not doable.
It's not doable even for the most powerful and
No.
wealthiest people in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you think, though,
Joe's BS meter is going off the charts, and so is mine. And by the way, it is a bit weirdly convenient that after VEO3 comes out, now we're starting to get promises of this footage that's definitely not AI. That's wild.
that, like, if someone was in a position where a guy could release information that could potentially damage the most wealthy people on earth, you would have a concerted effort that's unprecedented.
Sure.
You would have the resources that we couldn't even possibly comprehend, all pointing towards eliminating this one person that it could be done.
But I mean, so many people have been implicated, right, already, and some of that information, what they did to Prince Andrew and everybody else is already out there. I'm
How
pretty
much can
confident.
you talk about what you've seen?
Not yet. Just what I've told you.
Can you say you've seen anything?
No, that's the point. That there's nothing in there. Like
There's
in the
something
video.
to see,
You
right?
guys would be bored.
You talking about the video of the murder or
yeah.
the suicide?
All around a super poor showing from Kash Patel. I'm extremely disappointed with how wishy-washy this entire thing is, but I'd love to know what you think about this, so please let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.